July 5th, the day after America sets off enough fireworks to make the moon flinch. While everyone's recovering from burnt hot dogs and bottle rocket mishaps, history was out here actually doing stuff. Important stuff. July 5th is like the quiet sibling who didn't party last night and instead, invented modern physics or declared independence. So let's dive in. Because July 5th isn't just a historical hangover. It's a full-blown timeline of world-shaping events. Segment 1. Newton drops the mic. 1687. On July 5th, 1687, Isaac Newton published his groundbreaking work, Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, which sounds fancy because it is. This wasn't just some physics textbook. It was the iPhone launch of the Enlightenment. Newton gave us 3 laws of motion and the concept of universal gravitation. Before this, people thought things fell because God was mad, or maybe the Earth just had trust issues. Newton shows up and says, "Nope, it's math, baby," and humanity collectively replied, "Oh crap, we need to take algebra seriously now." This moment launched modern physics, space travel, and that time you had to fake understanding parabolas in high school. Newton gave us the tools to put a man on the moon and the equations to explain why he didn't float off like a balloon. Segment 2, the Olive Branch Petition, 1775. On July 5th, 1775, the Second Continental Congress sent a heartfelt breakup text to King George III. It was called the Olive Branch Petition. The colonists basically said, "Hey, Your Majesty, we're still into monarchy, but maybe just with fewer taxes and troops in our houses?" King George responded like a ghoster. No reply, just a royal restraining order. By August, he officially declared the colonies in rebellion. It was the 18th century equivalent of being blocked on every app. What started as a gentle tap on the shoulder became a full-fledged revolution. Proof that when someone says we can still be friends, it's already too late. Segment 3. Venezuela declares independence. 1811. On July 5th, 1811, Venezuela formally told Spain, "It's not me, it's you." They declared independence and joined the Latin American breakup trend. Led by Francisco de Miranda, Venezuela's declaration kicked off a decade-long war. Spoiler, they win. Spain lost more colonies than Blockbuster lost customers in 2005. This wasn't just about one country. It was the continental version of everyone quitting the group chat with Spain. Independence is messy, loud, and full of dramatic exits. But hey, sometimes you've got to throw a revolution to find yourself. Segment 4. Frederick Douglass calls BS 1852. On July 5th, 1852, abolitionist legend Frederick Douglass gave one of the most powerful speeches in American history. What to the slave is the 4th of July? Spoiler, not much. While America was high-fiving itself over freedom, Douglass stood up and said, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't be popping champagne while millions are still in chains." He exposed the hypocrisy of a nation celebrating liberty while practicing slavery, and honestly, it was the mic drop of the 19th century. The speech still rings painfully relevant today, because freedom, it turns out, needs more than fireworks. It needs follow-through. Segment 5. The U.S. Secret Service begins, 1865. On July 5th, 1865, the U.S. Secret Service officially started operations. But plot twist, it wasn't to protect the president. Nope, it was to stop counterfeit money, which made up nearly a third of all currency in circulation. That's right, the U.S. economy was monopoly money with better printing. Irony alert, Abraham Lincoln signed the agency into existence the same day he was assassinated. Talk about terrible timing. It wasn't until President McKinley got shot in 1901 that someone went, "Hey, maybe we should actually guard the president too." Today, they protect everyone, from presidents to pope visits to foreign dignitaries who insist on being called Your Majesty at Panera. Segment 6, the Red Flag Act, 1865. Also in 1865, England introduced the first car speed limit. You ready for this? 2 miles per hour in towns, 4 miles per hour in rural areas. Plus, a guy had to walk in front with a red flag like a reverse NASCAR pace car. That's right, you needed a parade just to go to the market. The rule wasn't about safety, it was about horse owners being mad their animals were getting shown up by the new tech, which makes this the first recorded case of humans saying, "Think of the horses." It took 30 years to up the speed limit to a blazing 14 miles per hour, and you thought your commute was bad. Segment 7, Bloody Thursday, 1934. Fast forward to 1934. July 5th became Bloody Thursday when a labor strike turned deadly in San Francisco. Police fired on striking longshoremen, killing 2 and injuring dozens. But instead of breaking the strike, the violence united workers. It sparked a wave of labor reforms and helped usher in the National Labor Relations Act just a year later. In short, the workers didn't get crushed, they got organized. Proof that sometimes you need to make noise to be heard, and sometimes that noise involves tear gas. Segment 8, Elvis Invents Cool, 1954. On July 5th, 1954, Elvis Presley recorded That's All Right, and music was never the same. It was raw, fast, and different. The moment it hit the radio, teenagers went wild, parents clutched their pearls, and rock and roll was born. The church said it was sinful. Kids said it was Friday night. Elvis didn't just make music, he made swagger a lifestyle and pants tighter. Segment 9, The NHS is Born, 1948. In the UK, July 5th, 1948 saw the birth of the National Health Service. Free healthcare for everyone. It was revolutionary. Instead of needing a rich uncle or robbing a bank to get a checkup, the NHS gave people access to treatment based on need, not money. Today, Brits argue about everything, but mess with the NHS and suddenly everyone's got pitchforks and accents sharper than a scalpel. Segment 10, Dolly the Sheep, 1996. And then there was Dolly. Born July 5th, 1996, she was the first mammal cloned from an adult cell, a miracle of science, or depending on your theological leanings, the first sign of the apocalypse. Dolly wasn't just a sheep, she was the beginning of 1,000 sci-fi movies. Cloning debates exploded, religious leaders panicked, and cows everywhere side-eyed the scientists. It was a leap for science and a giant woolly headache for bioethics. So next time someone says July 5th is just a hangover day, remind them. It's the birthday of modern physics, Latin American independence, civil rights, calls to action, labor reform, public health care, and rock and roll. Not to mention Dolly the sheep, because why not end with a cloned mammal? History doesn't take days off, even if your fireworks hangover does. Happy July 5th, America. You missed a lot while you were sleeping in.